Welcome back to Studio 5. During the holidays, women love to bake. We love to decorate. We love to go shopping. But the problem is, see where I'm looking, men don't necessarily like to do any of that. So the question is how to get husbands to help out more.
You know, but the husbands are trying to figure out why you need to do all that stuff in the first place, you know?
It's fun.
Then don't complain if we don't. If you enjoy doing it.
And the discussion starts.
See?
Here to help us talk it out, Studio 5 relationship coach Matt Townsend and family therapist Julie Hanks from Wasatch Family Therapy. This is a good discussion, though.
Huge.
It's big.
It's really big.
See, you know, I thought it was very interesting because when the topic was assigned, it was how to get men to help out. And in my yeah, exactly. Clearly, a woman came up with that topic. Why isn't it how to get women not to like nag us the whole time?
Relax,
chill.
You know, I have to agree with you. I mean, I think there needs to be some give and take on both sides. So I think women can mellow out with our expectations, but men can also step it up. So we're going to solve it in this segment.
We've got 3 categories, right?
Yeah. We're going to figure it out. Should we start with baking? Because women love to do so much baking, right?
Well, and let's remember that men love to eat. So it is a perfect combination.
Okay, Julie, you make a great point here. You say women feel responsible for the intangibles of the family. They own it. It's their responsibility.
Right. And so while food is tangible, what I'm talking about is the memories, the smells, the environment, the feelings. Yeah. And so women, you know, we feel this weight of responsibility for making a memorable time of tradition during the holidays.
That's so messed up. Because we like intangibles, but ours are like not about smells and candles. Ours are like fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Sledding.
But isn't that
snowball
fights? Baking in the kitchen?
Not necessarily.
Fun?
Yeah, drinking cocoa that Mom made.
Oh.
Stuff like that.
You live with your mom now?
Yeah. I've been meaning to talk to you about this, Julie.
I think we can make an appointment.
I can't get rid of my mother. But you know what? Isn't that weird that you do have that real need, don't you? That sense that you're responsible for the home, the feeling of family.
The quality of those connections, too.
Yeah.
And so I do have to admit that sometimes we go overboard with our expectations. Yeah. So I think we, you know.
I call it assumed necessities. Women have a lot of assumptions, things that they assume need to be certain ways. Because like you decorate your table this way. You put these here.
Right.
These belong on a tree.
Martha Stewart said so.
Who put those there?
That is so true about this.
There's an assumed necessity. And then they kind of live by this assumption that men have never learned that assumed necessity. We never had the girl class where you learned that.
And you say part of it is just to manage what your expectations are, right?
Manage your expectation. And at least let's try to get on the same page of expectations. Like if you really like the smell of baking bread, maybe fill us in on that. That's really what you're doing is baking bread,
but
not just an edible.
How much flour you got to put in the
Exactly.
dough. But I love the point too of letting down the expectations a little bit because we do get caught up in all the details, making sure the tree's decorated just so, making sure the baking is done by a certain date. So kind of letting go of all of that.
And I think the men in our lives can give us really good feedback. Women, listen, about what's really do we have to do Christmas cards every year? How about every other? And I'm like, okay, every other will work. I could do that. Right. And so I think that dialogue's really important to find balance because women, we have high expectations.
Okay, from baking, Brooke mentioned decorating. Decorating is a huge, big thing. And that's sort of once again, it's like how much decorating do you do? How much over the top do you go? And you sort of duel it out over this whole kind of thing. What's the deal with women? What are you thinking when that's all happening?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying, Matt, is that we have certain expectations. Yeah. And then we also assume other people have expectations. Like our, neighborhood friends, you have to have a Christmas tree. It's just kind of a given around the holidays, right? You have to have lights, decorations, and somehow I think women's self-esteem is tied up in that, that presentation. And we want to meet expectations.
Men have expectations.
This should be good.
I'm trying to think of how to say that.
We're talking about the holidays.
No. Oh, sorry. Anyway, go ahead. No, men get into lights. Like the lights, I mean, our neighborhood's full of lights.
Right.
Except for our house. Because we try to conserve our electricity. No, but men like the light thing or the present buying. We have expectations. Like, I mean, I always do this last-second shopping deal because I don't feel like we bought enough. Or we didn't buy big enough. It's not big. We're not big. We gotta. So maybe some of our expectations are we gotta just talk out. Really, what are we trying to do with the decorations. Like, what we're trying to cut back this Christmas. And so we're trying to turn everything back to the reason for the season thing and trying to convince everyone that there is a reason other than buying and shopping. And when we got on the same page, it made a lot of these expectations go away.
You say women, though, need to get their guys' attention and just flat out ask.
And involve them. See, guys aren't going to be thinking on your wavelength, so if you'll bring us into it and say, you know what, yo, hey,
right here.
Yeah.
I need your help. Can you help me get this stuff done? And if we can get it done by noon, I can relax. And then we can go sledding.
Why do we have such a hard time with
and
that?
Have fun
just
with
laying
that.
it out and...
Well, I think women feel like they should do it all.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I think it's hard for women to ask for help. And then I think there's still this myth that if he really loved me, he would sense my stress and know exactly what to do, which is not true.
No.
Rarely happens.
It's totally not true.
I have an example with Christmas cards. I was going out of town. I had the Christmas cards addressed, but I said, honey, here are the labels, go get the stamps, make sure they're mailed by the time I get back. And he did it. But had I just wished for that, they would still be sitting on the kitchen counter.
You spell it out step for step, and guys can understand that.
The deadline is good,
They
too.
want to please.
Yeah, and a time deadline, because if you always leave it open and then tell us why it would be so pleasing for you. If we could get this done by the time I got back from my trip, then I could relax the week before Christmas.
Nice.
And everyone would be happier, and no one's going to die.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Last one. Okay, we've done the baking, we've done the decorating. Let's come down to shopping. Your last one. Women, you guys go crazy at shopping time, don't you?
Back to the fun.
Yeah, it's fun, but you know, we feel like we should do it all and make everybody happy, you know? And there's this pressure. I remember one year with my kids, I didn't do PJs, and we've always done PJs, and it's like
What would they sleep in?
Well, no, they cared, but I didn't know they cared until I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's all these, well, I don't want people to be disappointed. And
fear you're going to let people down.
Yes.
Okay, so ask for help is important.
Asking for help is so important. And remembering that we don't have to do it all. We can ask for help. We can ask our kids to help. We can ask our spouses to help.
Remember the book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Costco. It's a great book that I highly recommend. Well, when you ask us, because see, our expectations aren't the same. One of the rules is always give your guy a choice. So, honey, would you rather do the Christmas cards or finish decorating the living room?
Yeah, so you make them think that they're in charge.
So then there's this trick.
That's actually a parenting technique that I use with toddlers.
Hey, it works. Are they male toddlers?
Nice.
Because it really works. We kind of need agency. We need choice. We need the freedom to know that you're not telling us what to do and that we're on the same page. And one other thing, remember that we don't think like you. So just because we're not doing it doesn't mean we don't like you. It just means we're not in Costco. We're still on Mars.
You'll have to reread that book or something.
Yeah, I don't remember if that was the
good
real
perspective,
name of it.
good tips, the his, her perspective. If you want to get in touch with Julie, you can contact her through Wasatch Family Therapy, that website, wasatchfamilytherapy.com. And Matt has another date night coming up in January. Details available at marriagemattersutah.com. We'll post both links on our website, studio5.ksl.com.
Coming up.